Okay, welcome back to the channel. It's been 2 weeks. It was not supposed to be. I had plenty of other videos scheduled to go up, or not scheduled, but scheduled to film and for me to post, but, you know, I had crazy things happening in my personal life that I had to deal with first, but it's all over now, and we're here at the new upload schedule, which is going to be Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so whatever those are for you on Tuesday and Friday of each week, that's when I'm going to be posting from now on. So before we get into today's video, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how this new schedule is going to work. So Tuesdays are going to be what you're watching today, which is Quick Cut Tuesdays. It's meant to be a bit more laid back, and I mean it's a fast-paced thing where I pretty much just, you know, rattle off spoiler-free about movies and other horror media that I like or don't like and aren't really worthy of a full Friday review. Which brings me into what Friday is going to be, because if you know, before I was doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, just movie reviews, like full production movie reviews, and admittedly that I'll be honest, that's really hard to pump out, and I kind of got a bit ambitious with, you know, how realistic that is. So what's going to be happening now is movie reviews are going to be on Fridays. Those are going to be like, you know, full production, full plot breakdown, spoilers included, my complete thoughts, as opposed to Quick Cut Tuesdays, which are going to be more brief, spoiler free, and kind of with the intention of making you guys go and watch the movie, and then that way you can just kind of get an idea of what to look for in that film, so then you can watch it and make your own decisions. So anyways, I'm going to shut up. This was just the intro that I wanted to include. And yeah, I think that's all I got to say. So Quick Cut Tuesdays, every Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, whatever time that is for you. And then the movie reviews every Friday of every week at 5 p.m. EST. So let's roll the intro and get into it. One of my favorite things in the whole world is a good found footage horror movie. In my opinion, when done right, it can be the absolute scariest form of horror that there is, and that's just because I find it so creepy, the thought of just finding someone's camera after something's happened to them, after a haunting, possession, break-in, anything that there is, you name it, there's probably been a found footage horror movie done on it. And with how popular the subgenre is, it's so crazy to me and a little disappointing that we don't get a whole lot of, you know, big theatrical releases for found footage movies. I feel like nowadays it's just the kind of thing that you happen to come across on a streaming service, or you rewatch ones like, you know, everyone knows Paranormal Activity and the Blair Witch Project, but you don't get too many. And those movies, like, were, you know, had the worlds by the balls when they came out. So I would love to see another movie like that come into the spotlight. But today, this is Quick Horror Cuts. That's not what it's called, the Quick Cut Tuesday. Sorry, I'm still getting used to doing this. We're here today to completely avoid and stay out of the spotlight because I'm going to be showing you guys 3 found footage horror movies that there's a good chance you haven't seen. So I'm going to do this spoiler free, so that way after you see this video, you guys should definitely get some popcorn, grab your friends, grab a couple of these, you're going to want a change of underwear, and go watch these. But first, I'm going to give you guys just my quick spoiler-free thoughts on a few of them. Kicking off our list is The Taking of Deborah Logan. This is a movie shot in mockumentary style that follows a documentary crew who is documenting an old lady with Alzheimer's. That's a lot of documenting. As they spend more time in her home and interviewing her daughter and watching her behavior, they start to realize that something much darker is going on beneath the surface. And once you guys watch this, and you're going to be trying to figure out the whole time what's going on, and I don't know how many of you will figure it out, but it's freaky as hell. The movie has a clear setup and premise and payoff. It really doesn't have anything to hide. It pretty much presents it to you as, hey, here's a movie about a camera crew that has this woman who starts doing creepy things and is losing her mind. Like, it doesn't, I'm not saying the movie is super deep, but I think it's really well executed. You have Jill Larson, whose performance just carries the whole movie. If it weren't for her, the movie probably wouldn't be as creepy as it is, because it's not even the ending scene where things go balls to the walls that's scary. It's more creepy when it builds up to it, because how she's acting is so unnatural and unnerving. I won't lie, it is a pretty slow burn, but the characters are just interesting enough where it doesn't really feel like it drags. That can be a fault of some movies, especially some found footage, where it feels like it drags throughout the whole first half because The characters most of the time don't have any backstory, and you don't get too much backstory on them here, but their dynamic is interesting enough to keep you watching and at least make you care about them. You could argue that the third act gets a bit too traditional if you were getting used to the psychological aspects of the first two acts. I can understand it being a bit of a shock. Unfortunately, I went into this movie kind of knowing the direction it was going to go, because there's a part of this movie that's included in like horror compilations all over YouTube because it was billed as being a real thing, and then people realized that it came from this movie. So once I made the connection on what I was watching, I was like, okay, that almost made it better. So, you know, just be aware that it is going to take a sharp turn. Don't get too comfortable with it being a psychological horror. Another point that I want to make is there's some scenes where the actors' acting is a little bit bland, and their reactions seem very forced to certain things. But all in all, if you can, you know, picture The Exorcist mixed in with a medical documentary, that's what you get with this movie. So definitely worth a check out, which brings us on to our next one. Hell House LLC. I understand this movie is not nearly as underrated as it once was. It's definitely built itself up a cult following, and it's actually like a series with 3 or 4 movies, I believe. Admittedly, I don't keep up, but I haven't seen any of the ones past the first one, so maybe I'll look into those and get into it eventually. But first, we're going to talk about this one here, which follows a group of friends who set up a haunted house attraction inside of an actual abandoned hotel, but once opening night arrives, they realize that something else other than them is running the show. This movie is tight, it's spooky, it has a lot of those pause and rewind moments that I love, I know a lot of people love. I always am checking out the backgrounds of horror movies, especially found footage, so that I can kind of be like, did you see that? Did you see it? The scares are subtle and realistic, almost to a point where if you even so much as blink or look away from the screen for a fraction of a second, you will miss them. Like, there's so many times that I've seen this movie a lot, and every time I watch it, I swear to God, I'm seeing new things I didn't see before. Another praise is the location. Like, this movie utilizes the haunted hotel perfectly, and it makes a lot of sense for these kids to want to set up their haunted house here. Like, that doesn't feel like an unrealistic plot. I can totally picture someone doing that. I mean, I sure as hell wouldn't do it. Fuck that. But I can see why people would. The acting's a bit questionable at times, but again, what's new? It's a found footage movie. And I've also heard that the sequels drag this franchise down bad, so maybe I'll just stick to the first one, and it seems like I should suggest you guys do the same. So, you know, this movie's got a creepy clown mannequin, and that's scary enough, and that's about all I have to say about it. So if you're looking for something that's a good, fun Halloween watch and is genuinely scary and pretty realistic at times, definitely check out Hell House LLC, because it's a treat. So the third and final movie I'm going to talk about today is Noroi the Curse, which is probably pronounced incorrectly by me, but it's a 2005 Japanese horror film. That usually means it's going to be fucking terrifying. It follows a journalist who investigates a series of supernatural events connected to this old ancient spirit/demon, and what he finds ends up being really chilling. It makes this movie feel super authentic. Like, the scares aren't gimmicky at all. It creeps up on you slowly instead of just throwing them at you. It also builds its lore beautifully. Like, this has some of the best backstory of any found footage movie I've ever seen. And found footage movies don't usually have much backstory. That's kind of the whole thing, is you can't always make that work. In this case, it works really well. It's one of the few found footage films that feels like a movie because it tells a story that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. You know, one con, I don't really have much negative to say about it, but one con is that it's over 2 hours long, which can definitely test patience, especially when you're watching something like this. That is shot from a POV angle. If found footage had a cinematic masterpiece, this would definitely be it. This is one of the best found footage horror movies I've ever seen, so you guys 100% need to check it out, because you will not be disappointed. So those are going to be the quick cuts for the week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If there's one movie out of the 3 that I've talked about that you should check out first, I'm definitely going to say Noroi the Curse. That movie it's not going to jump scare you, it's just going to quietly ruin your night, and you're going to wish by the time the 2 hours is over that you could unsee half of it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Definitely check these movies out. And Friday, I'm going to be talking about a movie that, I'm not going to lie, really pissed me off, because it wasn't good. That's all for me. If you guys have any underrated horror movies that you think should be included in a Quick Cuts Tuesday video, leave them in the comments below. I'm always looking at suggestions, always going to be down there seeing what you guys want to see. And yeah, that's all for me. Keep it creepy. I'll see you next time.